for now at least.
Yeah. So we have for the viewers at home, we have a few TAS replays to show off. A week ago, Arb and I, mostly, well, how this started was I did a power room any percent improvement as man, because, well, people only do man on this level. So no real surprise there. This is any percent. So man and girl basically identical. But the problem is, in a full game scenario, you're probably gonna switch to worth, because of the following reason. Worth has the ability to jump up and go up to Core Temple. Get a Falker too. But yeah, Worth can get all the way up here, up through here, go to Core Temple. It's pretty fast. We don't do this in SS because of other routing reasons. I don't fully remember, but it's pretty good. But that's only a probably. Either way, we need to know how fast Worth is in Power Room before we even bother to fully route it in. Gotta have all the pieces together. So, because of Worth needing some Power Room representation, I guess it's time to exit the game. Use muscle memory.
It really is way too easy to do that on accident. But I think for SS, the reason we don't do that climb for core, I think it has to do with doing the early unlock on access, which is not a factor in any percent. So I could be wrong there, but it's really the only reason I can think of.
Yeah, going to access after core is it's not ideal, I guess, but I mean it's just so fast to go up to Core Temple. Either way, we gotta think about Worth. Alright, I don't have the save state, so there we go. A little preview. Okay, so first I'm gonna show some context, show what the man route is like, which is basically exactly the first heavy that was just there. So, just to get some context, look at the old TAS. The oldest example one here is girl, which this and man are basically the same, except I did the recent improvement as man instead of girl, for no real reason, honestly. And yeah, I'll slow it down a little bit. So first you need to get the boosts and aggro this enemy. So explaining how this enemy works. When you hit it, it starts to turn around, because it's like, who hit me? And then it doesn't see you immediately, and it's like, oh, it was just the wind. So you can see that it's saying it's just the wind because it goes to state skid, and this is its turning around. But the aggro box to trigger its attack actually is still there, and this doesn't reverse until a little bit later, when it's totally done turning around. So you enter it, and now all of a sudden it's like, well, hold on, I'm trying to attack now, by the way. So then it's now attacking, it throws up its hands, but you gotta get to the other side because you've successfully triggered the reversal. You got cross up. So slime bear is pretty smart like that, and bears and trash bears. They know when you plan to cross up. So anyway, that's step one. You know, aggro it immediately. Make sure it reverses the attack by not actually being in the box immediately. Then get hit. So every single time you get hit is 5. You can hit by 4 of these, even though, you know, the slime wave keeps going. If you want to optimize your trajectory getting hit, you actually usually just want to not input any directions. Up and left would make you go higher. They don't actually make you go farther left, generally, you know, or inward. And down and away will make you go a little bit farther away, not always farther downward. It's a little bit weird. It's not exactly like DI, as some people compare it to. It's a little bit more like movement within. Within this hit stun time, you're just affecting your trajectory, or not trajectory, but you're affecting your actual velocity directly, but not toward the direction that you got hit. So it's a little bit strange how it works. But then you dash out. You got to get hit multiple times. You aggro it again. You go for an actual trade because we're trying to get dust on the enemy too. Notice that for the final one also, I'm in the hitbox, but it's not actually aggroing yet for a few frames. That's because it's on cooldown in between attacks. So after you've aggroed it and got hit enough, you know, jump into the ceiling. Basically, we just got to get to the end. You know, pick up enough dust along the way too. So get a boost, pick up a little bit of that dust because we didn't really need much, and that's as simple as power room any percent used to be. That's the old route. But that's also a way faster character than Worth, unfortunately. And there's another improvement. So Worth, capable of top 10, we'll just say. But people with Worth PBs, a little hard to find.
Very
None in the
rarely
top
range
50.
top 10.
Yeah, but Worth could top 10. There's the first Worth PB. But we got a couple sub 12s, you know. Just right on that cutoff. So then what happened next in line was I did a couple more TAS improvements recently, a week ago, and this is what happened. So beginning starts the same, you aggro it exactly the same, but now I do a light along the way. So first difference, I did a light trade, which didn't affect anything here, but it does affect, you know, the dust that I'm ultimately gonna get from this enemy. And I'm doing another light trade right here, so I'm at 5 out of 9 dust from the enemy. Now the big difference is because I lighted the enemy instead of heavied the enemy, it underwent less hit lag, so it was in hit stun for less time, which means it's going to aggro me basically the entire difference that I saved right here a little bit earlier. So I'm now hit a lot earlier, but I get 1 less dust. And then the other thing that I changed was I'm jumping and I actually get 1 whole dust from this light. And I also left a little bit more dust. I did need 1 dust because I have 96 skill combo right now. You can see that number. And there's only 4 dust up here. And I need 100 for super. So let's do some slope surfs at the end for fun. That's just the that's just a fast way to climb up at the end. So we'll watch that one more time.
I will say it was really strange watching this at full speed without any context. The light
Yeah.
in particular, which looks like it doesn't hit, which looks like it just doesn't hit anything. So I was like, is this just losing time for no reason, or? It is hard to notice what, like, all these small things without actually going in and slowing it down.
Yeah.
Let alone going frame by frame.
So considering
That's
how
the kind of map
complicated
it is now.
Power Room is, and it's kind of confusing to really change this route, I issued a little challenge to Arb, where I was like, hey, what if we just tried to make some Earth TASes and made a little challenge out of it? You know, kind of like DLC, what we did with that. And then Arb, you replied something like, I'm not sure. Or you asked something about it, and I was like, don't worry, I'll handle it.
I think I just said, like, oh yeah, I won't be able to do it tonight, but like I can do something in the next few days or something. And then like the day after, you're like, you ping like everyone in the task force.
Yeah. I think it was right after, not too long after. But then I clarified a little more later. But what I did was I tried to see if any other taskers wanted to jump on board, and we did get Sasha. So me, Arb, and Sasha ended up making some worth TASes for any percent. So they'll probably get published, I'm sure. And then I won't have the only non-SS TAS.
I actually can log in the Duskin now, so that's good.
Alright, I gotta reload these states.
But yeah, this was in some ways interesting, in other ways not so much.
I guess I won't. I'll do these one at a time. Okay, so I'll just reload them in the right order. What we're gonna do is show off basically all the replays in order of time, but it's not gonna be exact. It's gonna be a little easier to show them off in order of who did them, and we'll talk about the context to some degree. If Sasha's around, and when we get to Sasha's replays, it'd be cool if you want to explain anything that came up, by the way. But we are going to start with Arb's replays. So I'm going to play these ones in the order that I could play them either in the order that you sent me them, or the order that they are from slowest to fastest.
It doesn't particularly matter.
You can only hear me.
Hello, hello.
Oh, you should be able to hear Arb now. And Idle.
Hello?
Who wasn't really saying much.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been kind of quiet this entire time.
I still had Discord muted apparently.
Ah, okay, that will make sense.
It's okay, you didn't really say much yet.
It was basically just, color commentary.
Alright, well. It's fine. I think you're in the VOD, but you weren't live. I recently changed up my settings.
I see. Whatever.
Okay.
Nothing important was lost.
Yeah, so I'll show these off in order of time. You should just get up the 6 links yourself, and
Yeah, I have
order them in time. You did put notes on each one, which is pretty nice, but I didn't really read any yet.
That was mainly for me, just so I could remember what I was doing with each of these.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah, this slowest one, which actually wasn't the slowest idea I had. It just there was the other replay. I had like a complete reroute in mind, but it ended up being like a second slower or something. So let's not even address that. And
A second slower. No one went under, so
yeah, it was
probably
it wasn't
no
quite a
one
second
went
slower.
under. I'd be a little surprised.
Yeah. But yeah. So if this is the 11-5.
Yep. Okay, I
Yeah,
think I'm
okay.
already. Alright, here's the 11-5-5.
So this one was basically just a weird idea I had toward the end of working on this. I was like, what if we just, pick up more dust with empty lights and just skip this blob? But left friction kind of just shoots you in the face here.
Yeah.
Well, good on you for skipping this heavy, but now you're moving at like no speed at all. So that's too bad.
You do
Nothing to be
have
done about
a good
that.
amount of dust beforehand. And
Yeah.
then you obviously pick up everything else. But the dashes don't line up great for this.
Yeah, exactly. You can't really land any further left either. Like not by much. Even accounting for the empty light on the slope dust. Just because you'd end up bonking on some walls and losing fall speed, all that good stuff. Anyway, this was basically a throwaway idea. Nothing.
Yeah, a good example of things that happen when you try different things in Power Room. They actually don't save that much time.
Or in this case, they lose a lot of time. Yeah. So this was the 383, I believe. Yep. This was basically just copying the current man strats, but worth. There were some additional lead attacks that were necessary just because there wasn't really a good way to climb that slope without attacking it, without also losing time. I tried it again just earlier today, but it ended up being a little bit slower than attacking, which was surprising, but... Yeah, so this ends up just short some dust.
Checking out the key moments, seeing if there's anything big different that I noticed. But yeah, pretty similar to the existing route.
Yeah, it's basically like the man route, except you attack some extra things, which ends up being slow, unfortunately. Yeah, so that, nothing else to say too much about that, since a lot of the things that would be unique here are, were from the man run. So no reason to reiterate, I suppose.
Alright, we got another one from our...
Yeah, so this is the
start.
3-5, yeah, yes. And that is just to, what's it? It's just to get the bear to attack sooner, basically. Less hit lag compared to a 1 heavy. I mean, normally 2 lights from worth is slower, but that's only because of time dilation. And the slime bear doesn't care about that.
Yeah.
It only factors in the hit lag. So, it ends up being... I believe this was 2 frames faster than the heavy.
Getting hit on
really all this was.
205
Otherwise,
compared to
7, I
208.
believe it should be.
So, yeah, saved
yeah.
3 frames on that, but needed an extra dust, at least.
Yeah, I don't quite remember where the frame loss was on this. It might have been some sort of sinking that just barely lost a frame or something. Anyway, that wasn't planned to be a massive time save. It was just, let's not have as much hit lag on the bear. That's all that was.
Yep. That was the whole idea behind improving the man TAS too, so good to see variance. Here's the next one.
Right, this is where things started getting a little weird. So no, instead of doing a light before the second set of, the second attack from the slime bear, there's a heavy in there to get more dust, which, well, okay, so the heavy was, multi-purposed in that, 1, it got you more dust, and 2, it actually stalled the bear's re-attack timer, I guess, to call it that, which sounds a little counterintuitive, right? But basically the idea there was to allow for some more filler combat before the 3rd attack came out.
Yep.
And it is to the frame that you're able to get this heavy on this blob and also get 1 more light out on the bear before it gets its attack out. This barely lines up. And I was kind
Yeah.
of playing around with this for a while, trying to get the timing right.
And then you don't need to pick up any of that dust.
Right, yeah, because you have so much more. So basically, you're cutting out an empty light, and it's really weird because you're swapping an empty light for a heavy which hits something, but because all that time is dead anyway, it just doesn't lose time comparatively. Bit of a very strange situation which you normally would not encounter when doing like any more like linear maps. Yeah.
All right. We got 2 more.
Okay, so I think this was the second 11-3-3.
Yeah, this one ties. So we see that that different start again from the beginning,
Yeah.
from the slowest one.
Yeah, the slowest one and this one were like offshoots of like the fastest one I had basically. They were just ideas I had today. But this was another one that had like basically the idea again was just to not heavy the bear, to let the time to let it attack again more quickly. But because of the whole filler combat section there, you kind of had to have the bear attack late anyway, and then so it didn't save as much time. And then on top of that, you had to attack the slope dust, which loses time to time dilation, and that's because it's 4 frames lost to that. So overall, and then it ended up just being slower than the fastest route that we ended up with. That I ended up with rather.
All right, we'll check out your fastest one.
Yeah, and this one, I feel like there were so many strat ideas I had that just kind of got lost to not being able to line things up or things barely not being in the right place. So this is the 0.3 that's on stream right now, right?
Yep, 11.3 flat.
Yeah. So
You can publish that, or you know, any other
Yeah.
versions if you want,
yeah, at some point I will.
or fix it. Then
Yeah. So this one was this one was the replay where I cut the second light from the attacking one to the start basically, and also actually I think I'd been using that heavy earlier, but the idea with cutting that second light, it wasn't even just to allow the bear to have less hit lag for attacking. It was also to get it to move further right. And so the hit lag difference actually did matter. Of course,
Yeah.
just a flat time save. But the idea with letting it move further right never really panned out. Because the idea was to on the final attack, do a side heavy on both the bear and the blob at the same time. But unfortunately, the cycles on the blob and the attack timer on the bear never quite lined up so that was possible. And maybe there's a way to set that up, but in the time that I had been working on this, I couldn't find a way, because it was, I don't want to say it was close to working, but it was definitely not far from working. So maybe with some other adjustments it could be done. But the blob has to be pretty low in its bob cycle for that to work. And you know, on top of not having to attack another time, that's 2 more dust gained because you're heavying the bear instead of lighting it. And you also have your air charge left, so you can probably get to the ceiling faster after getting hit. So overall, it should be faster. It's like I could never get it to line up.
Yeah. I did also notice that this blob at the lowest point is possible to be hit with a heavy, a side heavy. So getting that to line up was something that I was looking at myself. But I think yeah, it is around this time where it's at the lowest and you're pretty close to the ground.
Yeah.
It'd be really cool if you could hit
Like
both of these at the same time.
yeah, I can hit the blob from the ground, but the bear is too far away time-wise from attacking again. So it just ends up that if you do line it up so that you hit the bear and the blob, the bear actually goes through all that additional hit lag, and you lose all that time because you have to wait for the bear to not be in hit lag. And if you wait so that you can hit the bear with the heavy while the attack's already gone out, the blob's already like moved back upwards, so you can't hit it from the ground. Yes. So things just did not quite line up here, but it was really only a few frames off. So maybe with some further adjustment, because you do get quite a lot of extra dust on that strat if it works out.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah. Well, thanks for your 6 replays. We're gonna see what Sasha did next. Mini spoilers to I had a little bit better, but we're gonna check out Sasha's replays next.
Hi.
Are you gonna talk any about your replays? I'm getting them up. It doesn't have to be too super in depth or anything. Just whatever you want to say about them.
Well, I guess a general experience of making these was just very confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This
I
is that
still
type of
don't-
level.
I still don't really know. I don't really understand any of the trade-offs that I made, I guess. I feel. It's just that they ended up being a little bit faster here and there.
Well, we'll see what it's like then. And then,
Yeah.
alright, light and a ledge cancel. Okay, so you're having the blob on the right after aggroing for the 3rd time. That's the first main difference. The ledge cancel isn't really necessary for anything but slowing down, which is kind of funny that you went for
Yeah.
it.
I think this one also only takes what is it? 11 hits, I think, because you're too far to the right, you get 3 hits at the last aggro. So it's like 4 hits by the bear, then again 4 hits by the bear, and 2 hits by the bear. But because of that, you also lose out on a bunch of dust, and you have to attack
Yeah.
dust, and that also loses a lot of time. Yeah, so this is only 1 hit.
Yeah, that was a
Another one.
consideration that I made in containment 90%, actually. Choosing how many hits you want to get hit by is pretty important, it turns out. And obviously affects the dust that you need.
Yeah, I think in general, the idea was to hit the blob and to collect the dust that it creates, right? Because wow,
Yeah.
you have these big heavies now from the sword. But I guess in other iterations, it always felt like you never actually needed the dust from the blob.
Alright, let's
Or rather-
show your faster one then. Alright, starting with heavy now. Okay. Hitting the blob a little earlier. Not picking up its dust.
Yeah,
This is a bit
It's like you
different.
got hit more times there.
Okay, so basically the same through here. You do actually end up low enough to get hit by 4 hits, which is nice.
yeah, barely. Also here, like, I had different iterations where you would be slightly lower, getting hit with the 4th hit. You were slightly lower, and you would get an extra frame of hit stun for some reason before the ceiling bonk.
Yeah, I noticed that when I was working on some of mine too. Like occasionally, I would just have one more frame of hit stun for some reason.
Yeah.
I do not really know why. I was thinking maybe it had to do with subframes, but like I'm pretty sure enemies only ever act like on the first subframe of a frame. So it couldn't be that. I just otherwise do not know what it would be.
Are you talking about sometimes you were able to collide with the ceiling at a different time, or you're able to act out of the bonk at a different time?
Act out of the bonk.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, for me it was being able to dash out of stun like a frame earlier or later depending on some context. That was strange.
Well, we are a little close to boundaries, I guess, but I don't think that would come into play. Getting hit is weird, though.
Yeah, I don't know. Actually, maybe it is a race order. That would be weird, but maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, this. Oh, sorry. Okay. Well, this run actually has 101 dust. Has one extra dust. But I didn't know how to speed it up by foregoing one dust.
Yeah, you really just get to take out the light, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, even taking out the light on the, like one of the lights on the there, it wouldn't change anything, right? Because it's not like the headlight matters in this case.
Yeah, there's like 3 different. So you can cut out one of the lights on the bears that you trade with. That saves 1 dust. You could ignore that, but it doesn't save any time. You could, on the right slope, you could forgo 1 dust, but it doesn't actually save any time.
Yeah, exactly.
And then on the left slope again, you could also forgo 1 dust, but again, it doesn't save any time. So
You just kind of end up with 101, but
yeah.
And do you get max fall speed from that height? Probably. Doesn't take
I
too
think
long.
I did, or it's very close.
Yeah.
there, yeah, you do.
So we do get it around here, so it's not like you're landing super far right.
Yeah. Oh, maybe. No, never mind. That wouldn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe on like the last slam bear attack, you only take 3 hits, and then you just do a light on the way down to pick up more dust. But I think that leaves you short 1 dust in this case.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
Yeah.
11.1,
Yeah, I think.
definitely really good.
You're-
I wasn't expecting to be that low, honestly, when I started this. I didn't think it was gonna end up
Level
that
1
close.
is really, really good.
You know, only 0.1 away. Alright, I'm going to show my stuff. I also have 6 to show. I'm gonna start with some slower ones that are more like the adaptations first before the bigger changes. But, you know, pretty similar to what you two made. But it'll be a surprise for everybody, I guess, what exactly I do. Alright, so first one, having a little fun with the with the boost. So this is the same idea as me trying to skip the slime ball on the bottom. And even with the dashes lining up a little bit better, you know, it's still a little bit pitiful what happens.
Yeah, left friction really just kills you here.
I also do a little low boost, and then I dash back to get hit.
Yeah, I actually I was thinking of doing that like an ADB across the ground there like initially, and then I was like, it actually just does nothing. So
Yeah.
like the bear gets aggroed earlier, and then like the speed is literally useless. So you know, as funny as it would look, there's no point in going for it.
Yeah, have to do this light instead of the down heavy. Basically replaces it, but is slower.
Right.
Alright, so version 2. This is probably the same as the, this is similar to the man TAS, but funnily it does an unnecessary light. This is why it's, this is why it's one of the slower versions. So you may notice I heavy light, and then I'm heavying, and then I heavy again. So I get 9 out of 10 dust that I attempt to get from the bear. But the first light, not really necessary. All that I'm doing is making the bear be a little bit farther left, I guess. But I do that, I light to the right and get a little bit more dust. Goesworth has a little bit harder time getting all the dust, in my experience, somehow. Like, Worth just needs one more dust than Man. For some reason. I don't remember how it added up. Just, early on I was just like, why does Worth get less dust? Well, Worth also does leave 1 extra dust on this slope. But, it's a bit of a challenge to think of getting all 100 as Worth. So, I don't know when any large changes happens in my 6 replays, but we'll watch them as they come. Okay, so here's a version where I don't heavy it first to aggro, and just see how it goes. That one's also tied.
Interesting.
So, by not hitting it at all, I still get aggroed at the same time. And this is when I was trying to line up these two for heavy, but it unfortunately didn't work out. And I'm sure by the time that I went forward with this one, I had already saved time otherwise. So back to the heavy and the boosted crons. Alright, so here I got a double heavy. And that saves some pretty significant time, it turns out.
Just skipping out on the last one.
Yeah. So for the final trade, I don't actually trade anymore. I get 1 big side heavy. And let's just skip getting hit and get all this extra dust that shows up. It turns out that this is exactly 100 dust. If I do it this way.
Okay.
And this is a little bit tricky in a few ways. You have to make sure that... how exactly did it go? I think I just had a different version at a time that only got 99 dust. I don't remember why exactly, but this has exactly 100 dust. So you need to get everything if you're not getting hit that 3rd time.
I imagine maybe the bear is too far right in the other version, just spreads 1 less dust or something.
Maybe. I don't think that was the case. I might have been. I think what it was I was landing farther to the right and just not getting all of the bear dust right here. So if I land farther left, then I'll get the left dust, as I do here. So.
Right.
And then jump up to the ceiling and fall back down. But I got 2 more to show. Okay, so now I hit it twice, and then I clean up a bunch of stuff after. And surprise, it's way faster.
Wow.
What? Wow. Holy.
So
Wait, hold
hit
on.
it twice
Let's
beforehand, so that you're getting hit the 2nd time trades here, and you create a bunch of dust, and then you jump up into the ceiling, go down, light it, and then hit this to create even more dust to make up for the dust you need. And then you need to light twice for those. So this is also exactly 100 dust. But that's a pretty big difference.
Yeah, I wouldn't have actually thought this would beat man, let alone by that much.
Yeah.
Um,
But wait, there's more. So we start the same way. This time I heavy instead of light, and only do one falling light. And I save a few more frames. So,
yeah.
turns out we're maybe faster than man after all, thanks to this. I didn't replicate this route as man, but I did replicate a previous route as man. So I'll show that briefly. Here's a man version.
Yeah, I'd imagine for that route, man would have a harder time getting the spread dust from the blob.
This heavy is very hard to line up. This is the frame before it hits.
Oh yeah, this looks awful.
So this is, maybe not human viable.
Hey, just a little bit.
Maybe. And then you do 3 slope surfs on the bottom.
You really?
Because you need all that dust. So man can save 0.1 with that. But I didn't try out the other version because the problem is man has to ledge cancel. So by the time that you get here, you can only do a light and trade. You can't do a heavy and trade. So the reason why this works is because you're doing so much damage to it this quickly that you're actually creating all that dust with this second getting hit. So the only way man would be able to do the same route is if this heavy killed it. So that by the time that you do this, then you're not having this, you'd be having all this dust. And then
Right.
then you would go straight to this heavy. And whatever else is involved. But this was a worth challenge. And it seemed like it was faster as worth anyway, because you can just go straight to another attack instead of needing to dash back into it. And now there's so much dust that you only need to do 1 light while falling. Jump into MHB. Well, I do actually have a funny other.
I actually, yeah, I did actually try something like that. It's slower, like a lot.
You can do stuff on the bottom if you want, but there's nothing to do after this, unfortunately.
Yeah. This. I also tried this. It is not good.
Yeah.
Mainly because the slime bear's in a really awful position here, so you just can't use it for any reason.
Yeah,
Like,
the bear is so far to the right that it never actually gives you 4. It rarely gives you 4 attacks. But
Yeah.
even after you get hit by it once, it's gonna walk forward a little bit more, and then it'll never again give you 4.
I will say I didn't try the ceiling boost into low boost there.
Yeah,
I just didn't- that's funny. It's like research boost.
it is. That was
Except
the
not on research.
inspiration.
Yeah, that is funny. Yeah, I mean, regardless of how cool this looks, it's just
Yeah.
there's too many things wrong with the route. It just I don't know.
I did most of this stuff on Monday and Tuesday, I think. I got it out of the way with early.
Yeah. And a bit of a loaded week, so I couldn't really work on this until like basically last night. A little bit on Friday, but most of the stuff I'd done was, some light theory crafting just in my head, and then tried to do stuff on Saturday, but you know. I definitely didn't consider skipping the last attack wave though. That is interesting.
Did you try skipping the light at the very, very end?
Me try skipping the light at the end? I needed all the dust in that case. In this case. And I mean, it's just right there on the way. So you're gonna do a light regardless. So, you know, you could do a light for 2 more dust. Right there. And I'm pretty sure, this light gets the equivalent of 2 more dust if it lines up correctly.
Yeah.
They're both just on the way, so I didn't really think too hard about that. But we have a lot of different ideas now, so I wouldn't be surprised if it went even lower than this at this point. But this is as optimized as I got this route. So feel free to mess around with it if you want. I'll have that on Dust Kid.
Yeah, I think I think I tried to collect the dust at the very end without a light. And I think I got it to save a frame compared to doing a light at the very end. I'm not sure if I have the replay.
Yeah, I'll try it. I'll probably try it a little later, just to see. Alright, that replay's on Dust Kid. I'll submit the other ones too. Well, that's the power room stuff. So that was the show, I guess. But we might as well show some other recent TASes for fun. I did a new Titan SS yesterday.
Yeah, there have been goings on with Titan, yeah, between JVC looking into mana routes and then you doing some tasking with that.
Yeah, I saved a whole frame on Park. Sasha did a few recently too. Might as well show them off.
Oh yeah, those were great.
Is that wiring run better? By Fresh?
I believe so. Let me double check. Yeah, that 833 is the fastest wiring at the moment.
And then it's that. Alright. I have a bunch more replays. Alright, we'll go in chronological order of these replays. Recent happenings in the world of TAS. Alright, first, first we have Ascent any percent. Sasha going for super list route. Something that, at least to my knowledge, was never really considered for some reason. But isn't anything that I have any real input on.
Is it that heavy? At like 800 or something? Yeah, okay, well, there's a reason, I guess, why I tried this.
Okay.
Because the cycle for the turkey that you hit at the middle of the run, it spreads 1 less dust. so I reconsidered pretty much.
So you're talking about this one?
No, not this one, the next one. Yeah, I made this improvement here, and because that was faster when hitting this turkey in the trying to do a super. Yeah,
Oh,
it spread one less dust. I think it's replaying this.
so the whole Superlift route was born out of that. That's interesting.
Yeah, yes, it was one less dust, and I was like, oh my god, how do I fix this?
Yeah. Well, let's just change everything.
It turns out the solution will
Exactly.
just reroute the entire map.
Yeah,
Yeah, pretty big improvement. 0.4.
Yeah.
Unless there was one before this. Either
That
way,
is
0.4 over super.
a huge amount of time save. Like,
Yeah, it's rare to get like a quarter second or more.
yeah. I mean, anything over 0.1 is big, let alone 0.4. So
yeah. I'm still not 100% sure if like the Superlist is actually the fastest ever, because the super only saves like 8 or 10 frames or so. A lot of the other time save was from the LSJ.
I didn't look at this in TAS yet, but I did make a small mock-up of, these aren't like the best strats, but you know, something human viable that would be a little bit faster. Not much, but a little bit difficult. So I do think it's pretty likely that Record would switch to Superlist, based on, you know, a little testing. But we'll see who grinds it first. I've been playing other levels, so I didn't actually end up grinding this. But there are a few minor differences that humans have to worry about. Like, you know, anything ledge cancel related.
right.
That part with the slope jump is also a little slower than what it should be. You can do some more normal stuff there. But we also have an SS version of this. Well, not version of this, but SS improvement on the level. I don't think I actually watched this one. I don't remember what the differences were.
It's exactly the same difference as the any percent. It's the LSJ into MHP here.
Alright. So that was a minus 8F on SS.
Yeah, the minus 8 frames. It's only 6 frames from the 6 frames of that are from the LSJ. Like the MHP only saves like 1 frame.
Slope thingy at 948. Here,
I think
let's
it's a
double check
slope
that
serve.
one.
I think.
I'm loading the wrong replay.
Yeah, that's not the right replay.
Alright, 948. Yeah, that's a slope surf. Dash and heavy. Then immediate jump after.
Yep.
Yeah, lots of slope stuff, lots of ledge stuff that humans don't do. And we also don't do that super. That's pretty hard to end up being faster, just because of the end heavies being really tough. Plus the iteration order potential issues on the heavy. I'm pretty sure the super doesn't save that much time, just because of the end combat. But I was never aware of any amounts related to that. I just thought they were pretty similar. But then we had some wiring action. So here's the first one. The first one that you posted, which was minus 11F. Mostly earlier slope stuff.
Yeah, there was a different setup for this float reverse.
Then different combat.
A good
there.
chunk came from the. Yeah, I mean, a good chunk came from the air down heavy on this floor, on that floor dust. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought we were actually already doing that, honestly.
As far as I
Because-
can remember, like it's been just touching the ground and going up for like years and years now. I don't think it's ever really been changed.
Yeah. I mean, it's something that certainly slipped my mind. Because I didn't grind this again after my current PB. But I remember noticing that it hit. And I guess I never did anything about it either.
Yeah, I'd always just discounted it because the climb afterwards always seemed like it would be kind of bad, but that seems to not be the case. I suppose like the time saved from not having to dip down and do a ground jump and go for the right wall all outweighs that.
I think the climb after is kind of bad, actually.
I was
I
just
mean-
looking at it as a human too, in TAS. And for that, it was just like, it's really hard. You
Yeah,
have
yeah.
to line up.
Yeah. And then it's probably like frame perfect so that it actually does save time, and then
Yeah, but I grind stuff like that sometimes.
yeah, that's true.
Here's another version. This was the next one that was posted. You and Fresh had a little back and forth with ideas. Maybe one or two of these is gonna have a flub in it. But I haven't actually watched any of Fresh's improvements. So, mostly, I think there were strats on the top, right? That section in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, the top left.
Okay, so then I just have Fresh's run after that. So this is the same up until 1550 here. And then we LSJ after that.
Yeah, I remember.
That's pretty funny.
I remember
to see.
I remember there being discussions about that, and I'm just like, there is no way that can be fast, right? Like you have to purposefully, go down to climb that wall to set up the LSJ, and then, I mean, I guess the follow-up would be fast, but it never seemed like it would actually, go into a good strat, just because the setup set that's so like low. But it turns out having a better MHB is pretty big, so.
LSJ is a win again.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been
And I
finding
think
more
that-
reasons to put them in TAS over the last couple of years.
This perfectly parallel fit boost, 100% speed keep. It's pretty big too, which I suppose just lines up off of this new MHB setup.
Yeah.
I actually remember back when I was working on the research task, like going from a 100 to like a 98.9 to be like the 1 degree setup like lost so much more time than you would ever think it would. So that's probably a pretty big time save relative to what it was before.
Alright, we also have Cliffside Caves any percent. This one's a pretty cool difference. This one, this one kind of came out of nowhere compared to other
Oh,
things.
right, this. I remember this, yeah. Yeah, so there are some LSJ editions, and then there was what's it? Yeah, the MHB here, which honestly I didn't even know was touchable geometry until I watched this replay.
But yeah, cool big new boost setup that pretty situational if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, I think I was pretty frustrated with that boost, or the way that this top section went. Because I felt like all the boosts were kind of slow,
Yeah.
and then at some point it just clicked, I guess. Or I was thinking about Dustworth in this level, because he could reach that
Oh,
pretty
right.
easily. And then I was like, wait, I think Girl can as well.
And then a couple LSJs.
Yeah, Fresh did most of these LSJs already.
Okay, so yeah, it looks
These
like
are-
you just improved the LSJ setups,
Yeah.
judging by the notes. Superior LSJ. Make it sound like a tech. But cool new boost that's not really human viable.
Well, so
But that's fine.
the reason why it's superior LSJ is because I feel like it's actually just better pretty much everywhere. Like it saves, think about almost 2 full frames if you have the same setup. So it's pretty much always worth it to slow down for this LSJ. Unless
Yeah, that
there's
makes
another reason
sense.
it doesn't work. Yeah.
I've seen sometimes they are nice and fast like that, so. It is a good way to look at it, you know. It's okay to lose a frame to get this better LSJ. You know, worst case you're losing 4 subframes setting it up. As long as it aligns, I guess.
Yeah. Well, for the first LSJ that I improved, it even loses much more. It loses like, I think, a frame and like 3 subframes or something.
Oh,
But it still ends up actually jumping 1 subframe earlier, or 2 subframes. But that's because the super fast LSJ doesn't work out of a super short wall run. So yeah.
hey Fresh, I'll highlight the power room stuff, but you can go through all the you can just watch the VOD if you want. I'm gonna highlight it either way and catch up on the power room stuff. But yeah, right now we're checking out some recent TASs, and there are only a couple left.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff in the power room showcase.
Yeah, next one is a huge 1 frame improvement on Park. I didn't get the slope surf stuff to line up at the beginning, because it was only a subframe. So what changed in Park is this section. So instead of climbing to a ledge cancel, we're just climbing and then skipping a ledge cancel. And that's a frame better and doesn't ledge cancel, which means this should actually, like, this is just straight up human viable. You know, this TAS improvement. Getting that hook jump's a little annoying, but, you know, easy park, any percent record. Huge time improvement.
Yeah.
Not really huge.
Absolutely.
Very easy.
I mean, it probably is more than 1 frame for RTA though, right? Just
Oh,
because
yeah,
it's
yeah.
cancel.
It's more like a 0.1 time save just because of removing a ledge cancel. But that was an old one in the backlog. A new one that I just posted yesterday, TAS. Now we RLJ in this section and do it in this order in the middle. And then there's a really funny difference at the end because of that. So I did an LSJ for a very different reason, and it's in order to make a heavy hit. So first of all, the difference that happened is right here. I have a version where I do this RLJ and then I side heavy, but it turns out that's 9 frames slower to do the heavy then because of the setup for it compared to, let's just do another light wall falling, you know, that seems pretty smart. So, you know, getting in the right position and delaying the heavy a little bit, that costs 9 frames it turns out compared to this. But, you know, now all of a sudden I'm actually loading this blob too early. And I didn't want to slow down because slowing down is slow. You know, it just sucks. It's slow. So I can't short hop and hit this enemy anymore in the top right. It is just straight up not fast enough because I loaded this cycle earlier. So I did an LSJ and then I heavy, and this loses 2 frames, but we're 2 frames too early on this ending heavy cycle anyway, so I don't actually lose time just because we're waiting 2 frames for a cycle anyway. I just decided to lose 2 frames doing an LSJ instead of losing 2 frames at the end. And by comparison, doing a full hop up there for a side heavy loses 4 frames. So now we have another improvement. This is a version that Idle cleaned up with an older way to do it. So there's the heavy. You jump and do another heavy. That got switched to a light, the up light that was seen. And then this was the old side heavy that, you know, barely hits. It doesn't look too barely in this replay, but that's just because it loaded a little bit later. But those are the Titan differences. Not sure what else to do here at this point. But now we have another LSJ, and this one's even less necessary.
Far from necessary. That one actually loses time.
Yeah, but it doesn't lose time because we needed to lose 2 frames.
It loses time in a useful way.
Yeah. Fresh, what RTA climb are you talking about? I'm still grinding Titan SS, and so is JVC. Double jump up heavy on the left wall dust. Oh, you just mean in the middle? Right here? Oh, are you talking about this one? The last non-boot section. Oh, any other stuff there? We've just been doing that's the wrong one. Here's JVC's old run for reference. This is what JVC's been doing. This section hasn't changed. This final jump up section. So that's what we were doing. New SS strats are in my replay, but I'm gonna save another like 0.3 when I get a better run. Because I have two 8-framer ledge cancels in my replay. So that can be improved.
Oh.
Oh no.
So I made a little mistake. A couple, at least. But those are the new SS route strats. And there's seemingly no reason to change that final climb at the moment, from what I've seen. But it would make the side heavy easier. I also don't know if I'll grind power room any percent is worth, but I guess I could. I could find something that's more human doable. I'll show that off one more time. Skip straight to the tab. Anything else that could be shown off?
I've got nothing.
That's all the recent
Nothing.
TAS improvements.
Can't think of anything else.
Have there been any good records recently? Let's see. Oh, I guess Mosso's Shaded Grove.
Yeah, Maso got Shade Crew.
Tied it right.
Hmm?
Didn't untie it right.
It didn't.
No,
untie.
not untied now. It seems like it's possible. The untie seems possible. But,
Oh well, yeah.
hasn't been done yet.
I don't know how good quality the run is, honestly.
I haven't like analyzed the replay or anything, but
Also did add a double tap dash at the end, so yeah, improvable for sure. In terms of what Fishy did, because Fishy didn't do that. I think Fishy does double tap sometimes, not all the time, and that's a pretty easy ledge cancel to do it on. There's so
yeah,
much
it's a
time.
really long wall run.
But Fishy's got like some natural 3 and 4 framers, so
Yeah.
not always necessary.
But yeah, in a situation like this, why not just take like the 1-framer, right? Or 2-framer if the 1-framer is not possible.
Oh, wiring. Yeah, I didn't see all the wiring stuff, but I showed some of it off. It's a mini TAS showcase. Alright, I think that's gonna wrap it up. We showed off basically all the replays that are showable in recent times. All the TASs from current year. I've actually, yeah, we just went through all those. Maybe we'll do something in DLC, I don't know. I haven't actually decided yet. But I wanted to, you know, have something a little fun to do in the meantime. There is no event before DLC 6 in March, and it was nice to have a little excuse for a little task challenge. Power Room was a good one that we needed to do anyway. Maybe we'll do it again if there's a character kind of missing somewhere that needs representation. I'm pretty
I'm
sure
sure
there
there
are a
is.
few out there that don't have versions on levels. Like
Especially for any percent, which just has not been iterated on like at
yeah,
all.
any percent is missing a few.
Yeah.
Maybe Dome or Core Temple, I think, needs like Core Temple needs another worth one. Well, a worth one. Dome does have more than just Kid. I think yeah, Core Temple will need a worth one. But I feel like it wasn't gonna be as fast. Those are the ones I had that I was thinking about. We now have containment. There's a containment worth alternate route. That's really close that I published. Yeah, only 5 frames offer containment, so we don't have to worry about you know, jumping out of containment being slow. That could have been funny.
Imagine if containment was like a kid level or something. Just somehow. I mean, there's no reality in which that would be the case, just without containment set up, but
Yeah, we almost had to switch to man-girl for containment, and then this huge movement in between levels would be slower. But now, now we only have to save. Well, actually, so backup shift is either Kid or Worth. I don't actually know which one's in the lead on any percent. That one's worth double checking, I guess. But then,
probably still kid, right?
yeah, then we're definitely
current-
not Kid on containment any percent.
Backup shift's any percent. TAS is currently Kid.
Okay.
Is there a Worth one?
Yeah, Worth is let me double check. Worth is 4 frames slower.
All right.
Only 4 frames, really.
Well, it'll come down to the Nexus movement, I guess.
Yeah.
Just like it'll
For
come down
which-
to the 5-frame difference between Girl and Worth on containment. Does Worth save 5 frames jumping up? Find out whenever we TAS.
Yeah. I mean, I think kid. I think backup shift to containment is probably kid favored, right? But, we'll see.
Probably.
Also, I believe this question was I asked this question a few days ago, but I forgot the answer. What would the final stage be in the main Nexus for any percent?
Probably Dome.
Any percent full game run?
Holy dumb, yeah.
Just because
Yeah,
leaving
definitely.
Dome sucks. You know,
Yeah.
you leave it and then you're like, oh my god, what do I do now for 3 seconds? At least.
Yeah.
Like, what can I possibly do now that I've left Dome?
Yeah.
But getting into Dome isn't bad. The same thing does happen in Core Temple, but at least you have potential energy, I guess. Once you leave it, then you can go anywhere, and it's kind of quick. But with Dome, it's like you don't have the ability. Like, you can only go to Access from Dome, but Access could have been accessed at any other time, pretty much, as long as it's not after Abyss. But you're not going anywhere else after Dome. So, you know, you could technically do Power Room, Core Temple, Dome, Access, Abyss, or Power Room, Core Temple, Abyss, Dome, Access, or Power Room, Access, Core Temple, Dome, and then be like, why didn't I go to Abyss?
Yeah. But God, imagine if access actually were the last map for main Nexus.
That'd be so cursed.
But this is, you know, this is one of the only big decisions to make in any percent routing, honestly. This area on screen, these last 5 levels. Because Forest, there's no reason to split it up because of keys. You know, it just saves a little bit of time to do the old route, Forest. You know, you can just do the doors in whatever order you want now. They're all open. Mansion does the any percent route in SS pretty much, although it's worth considering the idea to go up to ramparts differently. But I have never really been involved in Nexus routing. Apartments Kid, gotta think about that.
Right.
That's one of the things. After that, that probably means you're saving scaffolding until scaffolding basically gets moved to the last level before dome, or not dome, control.
Lab, yeah.
City's basically the same, and then lab, and my guess is still probably finishing dome, because I think the dome and exit sucks more than core exit. So that's the way I'm leaning towards for it. Also because in any percent, there's more reason to go from power room to core temple.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
But we do have to do something about it. We have most of the any percents better than first draft, and then we don't really have some of the any percent Nexus movement done, because it's annoying to do Nexus movement TAS stuff, or at least not it's not as easy as levels. And I'm a little bit lazy about it. Not that interested. Perhaps one day we'll have Dusted Nexus Edition.
Yeah, admittedly, I didn't really touch too much during the Nexus script construction, so.
We do have the benefit of the frame counter now shows up in the Nexus. That's something I requested like a couple years ago, and we got. But we haven't done anything since then. So it's easier to time Nexus stuff now. And if we could use Dusted for Nexus, then it'd be a lot more usable. Just something to do with replays for it would be better than the current system. Then it would have to deal with Nexus replays somehow.
Yeah. I mean, that would probably be... That probably had to be something that needs to be updated in just a month too.
Yeah.
Not just the Dusted thing. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Fresh, it has been quite some time since the SSL test.
Fresh, would you be
Which-
interested in some task challenge kind of stuff if we did any in DLC again? This would be in a month, is when it would start. DLC 6 basically starts a month from today, in 4 weeks. Anyway, it is 4 weeks away from starting, and then levels